Hello viewers, this is going to be one more short video on linear transformation wherein we will be discussing existence of linear transformation. So basically the question arrives here is this: suppose we have two subspaces, say a subspace V and a subspace W. Now you are given some finite points in V. Preferably this V is a finite dimensional. So if you are given any points, say any finite points in V, say x1, x2, x3, x4, x5, okay, so and this goes on till xn. So we can consider this as the collection of this point as the subset of V. So the question here is that now I would consider this as the domain V. So the question here is that can we find a linear transformation T such that for any n such points in W, say y1, y2 and this goes on till yn, T of xi is equal to yi, that is each of this xi maps to the corresponding yi. Okay, so that is the main question we have here, and this is not always true. We can produce such linear transformation, in fact a unique linear transformation, provide this collection of point in the domain is unique, is linearly independent. Now this n points can be anything, it is just have to be a subset of W, but the collection of the points that we are taking in V has to be linearly independent. Okay, so we discuss a very important theorem in linear transformation, that is existence of linear transformation. First we will talk about the basis. This is in fact the necessary condition. We will see, in fact, even if we take the lighter condition than this, that is if I take a linearly independent set instead of a basis for V, that will also work. So that we discuss next once we uh, obtain the proof for this particular theorem. So what does it say is that if V is a finite dimensional vector space and W is a vector space, and suppose this set consisting of n vector is a basis for V. So this is a bit stronger than what I have stated. It's not just a linearly independent set in V, it's a basis in V. In fact, in the next theorem we will also prove that first from this particular theorem itself, that is even for the linearly independent set this statement holds. And suppose corresponding to this x1, x2 till xn we have such n points in W, then I can find a unique linear transformation T from V to W with the property, or it is defined with the property that each of this point xi maps to yi. So if you have understood the statement, then you know there are two parts. First of all, we need to we need to construct a linear transformation. It has to be a linear transformation and it maps xi to yi. And the next part is that we need to show that the construction of that particular linear transformation is unique. We cannot have any other linear transformation which maps xi to yi. If it is there, then both of this linear transformation have to be same. Okay, so let's proceed with the proof. Let's start proving this. So as I mentioned, our main aim is to construct the linear transformation. We will construct first the transformation, a mapping. I'll show that it satisfies this property, and I'll also have to show that it is a linear transformation. So basically, how we can define a linear transformation? So that idea comes from here. So for any point x in V, I should be able to define T of x in general. Now how this is defined, we'll see here. So let x belongs to V. But as we know that this B is a basis for V, so this x will be this V will be spanned by B. This implies that x will be same as some linear combination of vectors of B. That is, x would be same as alpha 1 x1 plus alpha 2 x2, and this goes on till alpha n xn. Okay. Now for some alpha I in R, where I is varying from 1 to n, right? And we know that this expression in terms of the scalars of this given vector is always unique, right, with respect to whatever is the basis. Now in this case the basis set is x1 x2 till xn. So this representation is unique, and therefore we can define t of x. Okay, now t of x will be defined with respect to its scalar multiplication, its linear combination with the vectors of B. See the reason why I am defining it in this way. Define t from V to W in this way. Now what is given? You are given the points in W, that is y1, y2 till yn. Okay, so how I will define by t of x is equal to, see, it is as same as saying t of alpha 1 x1 plus alpha 2 x2, and this goes on till alpha n xn. See, we want a transformation that takes xi to yi, right? So what I will do is that in this case, see, basically this will give me alpha 1, if it is a linear transformation, this will give me alpha 1 into t of x1. But as per the definition, we want t of x1 to be y1. And we want this to be alpha 2 into t of x2. So as per the definition, as per what we want t of x2 to be equal to y2. So I'll take this as alpha 2 y2, and this goes on till alpha n yn. Now this is how, this is very well defined, as this expression is unique. Okay, and so this expression is going to be unique for any y1 y2 till yn. Okay, so t of x, how it is defined as, I will just tell you, it's alpha 1, wherever there is x1 you replace it by y1, wherever there is x2 you replace it by y2, and this goes on till wherever there is xn you replace it by yn. So this is how I am defining the linear transformation. T of x is equal to alpha 1 y1 plus alpha 2 y2, and this goes on till alpha n yn. Now there are two things which we have to prove for this t. First of all, I have to show that it maps each of this xi to yi. Secondly, I will have to prove that t is a linear transformation. So first claim 1, t of xi is equal to yi. This is true for each I varying from 1 to n. Now that has to be trivially true. So if I take t of x1, first I am just showing you why this has to be true for t of x1. Is it same as y1? Now just look at this x1, can I write down this as a linear combination of x1, x2 till xn itself? But as you know that it is one of the vector from x1, x2 till xn itself, it can be written as 1 into x1, and all the other scalars is going to be 0, right? So which means that see, your alpha 1 is 1, and instead of x1 I will have y1, your alpha 2 is 0, instead of x2 I will have y2, 0, y3, exactly the definition, nothing else, which means that this is equal to y1. So it is clear that t of x1 is equal to y1 here. So this is one particular example. I will directly now show that t of xi is equal to yi. Okay, this is what I will show. Now since we know that xi is one element of B, I can express this as, see, the coefficient of x1 would be 0, coefficient of x2 would be 0, and this will go on till only the coefficient of xi is going to be equal to 1, and this goes on till 0 into xn. Now by the definition of this transformation, this would be same as 0 into x1 is going to be replaced by y1, 0 into x2, and this goes on till 1 into yi, and this goes on till 0 into xn. So that's the reason why I have defined this linear transformation in such a way. See, your aim is to show that there exists such linear transformation, and that is what we have produced. So this is same as yi. So since I have chosen any arbitrary xi, this has to be true for every I. Okay, so therefore this is true for every I varying from 1 to n. So therefore t of xi is equal to yi is proved. Now second thing, I'll have to show that this t is a linear transformation. Because I have produced the map, I don't know whether it's a linear transformation or not. So I'll have to show that it's a linear transformation. So how would I show that this is a linear transformation? I can either apply the definition or I can apply the equivalent theorem. So let me take x and y, 2 points in V. Okay, and let me take, so if I'm applying the definition, applying the theorem, then let me take 2 point alpha beta in R. Okay, so now this x and y being a vector in V, they are going to have a unique representation with respect to its with respect to the vector in basis B. So this would imply that x would be same as alpha 1 x1 plus alpha 2 x2, and this will go on till alpha n xn, and y is going to be say beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2, and this will go on till beta n xn. So now if I check for t of alpha x plus beta y, right? First of all, this alpha x plus beta y have to be in terms of x1, x2 till xn, and that is clear from here. So if I directly simplify this alpha x is going to be alpha into alpha 1 x1 plus alpha into alpha 2 into x2, and this will go on till alpha into alpha n xn, and beta y is going to be beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2, and this goes on till beta n xn. So if I add them both, I'll get the coefficient for x1, x2 till xn. So the coefficient of x1 is going to be alpha 1 plus beta 1. So alpha 1 plus beta 1 into x1. That's the first term. The second term is going to be alpha 2 plus beta 2 into x2. And this goes on till alpha n plus beta n xn. This is how we want the vector. So it is again in the form of x1, x2 till xn, and the scalars associated for each xi is alpha I plus beta I. So therefore by the definition, the way we have defined, only thing when it maps this vector, only thing this xi will be replaced by yi. The scalar will remain as it is. So this is going to be alpha 1 plus beta 1 into y1 plus alpha 2 plus beta 2 into y2, and this goes on till alpha n plus beta n yn. Right? So is this, the question here is that, is this same as t alpha x plus t beta y? So if you want, you can compute this separately and check whether this is same as, so let me call this as 1. So check whether this is same as t of alpha x plus t of beta y. So you can very easily compute t of alpha x. Basically, what is t of alpha x? Can you write down this alpha x once again in terms of x1, x2 till xn? We know that x is same as alpha 1 x1 plus alpha 2 x2, and this goes on till alpha n xn. So if you multiply this by alpha, I'll get alpha 1 x1 plus alpha 2 x2, and this goes on till alpha n xn. Okay, and t of beta y in a similar way is going to be t of beta 1 x1 plus beta 1 beta 2 y2, and this goes on till beta n yn. Right? So the image of this particular vector is going to be alpha alpha 1 y1, because the first term is alpha alpha 1 x1, alpha alpha 2 y2, okay, and this will go on till alpha alpha n yn. So in fact, this idea you can apply this idea you can apply everywhere in linear transformation. Transformation is uniquely represented by its basis. Okay, in fact any vector in the domain is uniquely represented by its basis, and therefore transformation is uniquely represented by the basis vector, or the vector which is linearly independent. Okay, so therefore we have here, this would be same as beta into beta 1 y1 plus beta into beta 2 y2, and this goes on till beta into beta n yn. Oh, this is x1 x2 till xn, so this is x2 and this is xn, and after taking transformation it gets converted into this. So the question is this same as this expression? Yes, so you just take the common of y1 y2 till yn, so you have alpha alpha 1, and from here you have beta beta 1 y1 alpha alpha 2 plus beta beta 2 y2, and this goes on till alpha alpha n plus beta beta n yn, which is same as t of alpha x plus beta y from 1. So this proves that t, the mapping which we have defined, is a linear transformation. Okay, now next part we need to show that this t which takes xi to vi is unique. So that's a next part, to show uniqueness of t. Okay, so basically what I'll have to show is that if there is any other mapping which takes xi to yi, then that mapping have to be same as this t. So let say S be a mapping from V to W such that S of xi, okay, let this be a linear transformation, it has to be a linear transformation such that this also takes xi to yi. Okay, so what we need to show is that if there is such linear transformation, then that should be same as this t. Okay, so we need to show that the mapping t is equivalently same as S, or identically same as S, which means now both this t and S are functions, and when do we say that the two functions are equal? If they are same at every point in the domain. So that means if I choose any arbitrary point in V, I should be showing that t of that point is same as S of that point. Okay, so let me start with any point in V. Let x belongs to V. Okay, so what I'll show is that t of x is same as S of x. Okay, first of all, I should be expressing this x in terms of x1, x2 till xn. So that is trivial because x is spanned by, V is spanned by B. So therefore x is same as alpha 1 x1 plus alpha 2 x2, and this goes on till alpha n xn. Okay, for some alpha I in R, right? So therefore if I look at this t of x, it would be same as t of alpha 1 x1 plus alpha 2 x2, and this goes on till alpha n xn. Okay, as of now I'll just apply the definition of linear transformation. So this would be same as t of alpha 1 x1 plus t of alpha to x2 and this goes on till t of alpha n xn. But again this scalars can be removed out, so you have t of x1 plus alpha to t of x2 and this goes on till alpha n t of xn. Now we know that this t of xi, as the transformation is constructed, this t of xi is same as yi. So I can rewrite this as alpha 1 y1, in fact directly applying the definition, alpha to y2 and this goes on till alpha n yn. Okay, but now again you know that this yi are also same as s of xi, as for the transformation that you have also constructed, also mentioned. So this can be written as alpha 1 s of x1 plus alpha 2 s of x2 and this goes on till alpha n x s of xn. What I'll have to show is that this t of x is same as s of x. Okay, so now again applying the property of linear transformation, this can be written as s of alpha 1 x1. You are just going it in a reverse process, alpha to x2 and this goes on till s of alpha n xn, and therefore once again this can be written as s of alpha 1 x1 plus alpha to x2 and this goes on till alpha n xn. But the way x is defined, this whatever we have in the bracket is exactly same as s of x. Now this is true for any x in V, so therefore we should have t of x is same as s of x for every x in V, which would mean that this t is same as s. So that proves the uniqueness of linear transformation. So what we have shown is that such t is unique. So once again let us recollect recall the statement. If we have a basis for V, since V is a finite dimensional vector space, V is going to have a finite basis, and now I have corresponding n elements coming from W. It can be anything, there is no restriction on this set. Then there exists a unique linear transformation from V to V which takes each xi to yi. Okay, now using this particular statement we prove one more important theorem or corollary. We call it as corollary because it depends on it flows from the previous theorem. So suppose in this case V and W are both finite dimensional and x1 x2 till xk is any linearly independent set in V. It need not be a basis for V, but any linearly independent set in V. Then also for given any corresponding k points in W, I can find a linear transformation from V to W which maps xi to yi. This actually flows from the above theorem. Now see, only point that is removed from here is that this is a linearly independent and it is not a basis. So in that case this may not span whole of V. Okay, this would span whole of V provided the dimension of V is same as k. Okay, now being this is a linearly independent subset of V, the dimension of V have to be greater than or equal to k, because if it is less than or equal to k, then this would become the set consisting more element than the dimension of V, and therefore it has to be linearly dependent set. Okay, so therefore this implies that the dimension of V have to be greater than or equal to k. Okay, so if it is equal to k, then we are done. We can directly apply the existence theorem. This would become basis because this is a linearly independent set having the same number as the dimension of V. Okay, and therefore this would directly becomes a basis for V, and therefore we can find a linear transformation from V to W which maps xi to yi. Okay, so let's discuss the proof of this. So how would we discuss? Okay. So first of all note that since x1 x2 and this goes on till xk is linearly independent in V, dimension of V have to be greater than or equal to k. So let me take dimension of V to be equal to n, which is greater than or equal to k. Okay, so being this is a linearly independent set in V and V is of dimension n, which is of greater than or equal to k, I can construct a subspace of V wherein this linearly independent set forms a basis for that particular subspace. Okay, so let V1 be a subspace of V such that the dimension of V1 is equal to K. Now this being a linearly independent set in V, it is a linearly independent we can okay, I'll write with x1 x2 till xk as a basis for V, because this is what is the necessary condition that is required is that this x1 x2 till xk is coming from V1. Okay, so I'm constructing a subspace such that this x1 x2 till xk is coming from V1. Okay, and since this set has exactly k element which is same as the dimension of V1, it forms a basis for V. Once it forms a basis for V, once it forms a basis for any of the subspace, basis for V1, for any of the subspace of V, by extension theorem I can extend this basis to form the basis for the given parental space V. Okay, so by extension theorem, I extend x1 x2 and this goes on till xk, so I'll have to put n minus k extra element, say xk plus 1, and this goes on till xn be a basis for, I'm extending this to form a basis for V, right? So now for given any subset of W containing exactly this many elements, I can find a linear transformation such that I can find a unique linear transformation such that each of these xi maps to the corresponding yi. So it's now your choice what would you take. See, in this particular statement we want this xi maps to yi when I is varying from 1 to k. Okay, so what do you do, but you want a subset containing n element in W. So let you take B1 be a set consisting of say y1, y2 and this goes on till yk. Now what you will do, the remaining element you can put of your choice, remaining n minus k element. So what you will do, I'll do here, I'll take this remaining n minus k element as all zero vectors. Okay, this be a, then what will happen, therefore by existence theorem there exists a unique linear transformation T from, there exists a unique linear transformation T from V to W such that T of xi maps to, xi maps to yi for all okay. Now we want this from I varying from 1 to k, so definitely this means that T of xi will go to yi, okay, and the remaining point will map to 0. Okay, I think this itself have to be, yeah, because here your n minus k vectors are all 0, so in fact this is k, and I should have mentioned here, just a minute, mentioned here itself. What will happen, from xk plus 1 onwards till xn, all this will map to 0. So this is for I greater than k plus 1 and less than or equal to n. So no matter where this xi goes to, we have xi going to yi for each I varying from 1 to k as per the statement. So you may take this xi to anywhere, not a problem for me at all. So we have produced a linear transformation, okay, such that this x1 x2 till xk maps to y1 y2 till yk respectively. That's it. Okay, and this by existence theorem, this linear transformation is unique. So that's end the theorem. So we have in fact more stronger statement. You need not require a basis to have a linear transformation from a subset, from a basis to any subset of W. It is enough to have some linearly independent subset of V. Okay, then we can find a unique linear transformation which maps those elements to some element, some k elements in W. That's the whole idea. Okay, and this has a huge application, you know, in understanding, in checking whether the given whether we can have a linear transformation which maps to certain point in the domain to a certain point in the codomain. Okay, so now the practical problems of corresponding to this theory and related to kernel of linear transformation we will discuss in the online session. Thank you for watching this complete video. Please mention your roll number in the comment section for the attendance purpose. Thank you.